crisis, conversational intelligence tools can be extremely helpful, addressing the productivity challenges of remote work in an increasingly global economy. With an increase in remote workers, a programmable platform that can help developers add and deploy conversational analysis is not only necessary, it's vital. And my guest for today, the CEO and co-founder of Symbl.AI, has done one such thing. Someone who started from scratch and established herself as a radical leader. Welcome, Surbhi Rathore. Thank you so much for coming here and talking a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Brisha. That was such a good intro, actually. I think you should write our messaging and positioning of the company.
Um,
Did a great job and explaining it. Well, very nice to meet you, and I'm so excited to be here.
yeah, same here. So first of all, why AI? Why did you choose that field as something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, I have not been in the field for all my life, but really in my last company when I was working at Amdocs, that was my first interaction with technologies using machine learning and AI in conversations specifically. Like that's kind of what we were building there, and that got me interested into looking at the space and the gaps which existed in the market in terms of facilitating conversations, enabling more intelligent communications across multiple channels of communication. And that's how we jump ship. So it started from the customer and the pain and not the technology itself, for me at least. I know, I mean, there are people who are working on the tech for such a long time, but for me, it was really like, this was a way to solve a customer pain point and a problem. So yeah, that's how I started.
Okay, so that kind of leads into, what started this? Like, how was your journey? Basically, describe that to me. You just told me that you saw the customer pain point and you wanted to help them. But like, how did all of that start? And then where was your journey from there?
Yeah, sure. So, I'll just give you a quick background. I'm an electronics engineer and I spent the last 11, 12 years working in both across startups and enterprises, both in very different and varied roles. Uh, Initially, a part of the engineering team, eventually building and leading engineering team, and then gradually moved into different roles in terms of like pre-sales, implementation, and as part of the company, Amdocs, which was like my last organization. And that was really the starting point where I got out of the box and actually the role boundaries that usually happens in big organizations, and I got a great opportunity within the company to act absolutely dynamically in whatever way, but to make that product successful that we were building at that point of time, which was also related to conversational AI. So that's kind of when I realized that there is so many different things around the entire engineering role that engineers are usually centered around. And I've always had a love and obsession for customers since the beginning. So figuring out how you can actually solve a customer's problem. So while we were building and actually discussing and working with enterprises on implementing conversational AI into telecommunication space, which was kind of what what we were doing at Amdocs before, there was a unique opportunity when we realized that a similar parallel space exists for human to human conversations, and not enough tools and voice tech infrastructure was available for developers and for engineers and builders like us to be able to build solutions around analyzing natural human interactions, whether it's in customer support or it's in meetings or sales calls. And that's what got us started and exciting. But I think more so with that, it was very interesting to see the number of companies that were starting to build around that space, and they were bringing very unique end user experiences to the market. Experiences around sales conversations, experiences around customer support conversations, and for meetings. And we saw a very unique pattern which was common across all those different products, which we thought if we standardize and like get it out and make it available to more developers, the scale at which voice intelligence is now getting applied to workplaces, it will radically exponentially increase. So yeah, we just saw something that we got very excited about, and I already knew my co-founder, and so we jumped ship and started the company. That's how it all started.
Wow, very cool. So you were just like passionate about it, and you like also noticed a pattern together, and like you guys to build a company out of this idea initially, or was it just like, one thing led up to another?
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. It wasn't something that we were always thinking about. It wasn't something that we were thinking of doing since the very beginning. We knew each other, or I haven't been thinking about starting a company for the last 10 years, I would say. But it was just an opportunity and an idea and a problem that arose, and we were, I think, the right people at the right time, and we just were passionate enough to grab the opportunity, and that's it. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, awesome. And uh, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the beginning of when this all started, then it was actually called Rammer.ai.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
was that change? Like, why did you change it? Is there a story behind that?
I'm sure a lot of people would understand the reasons behind changing it, like without me going public about the meaning of the name itself. But yeah, grammar originally means framework in Danish as a language. So that was the origin story of it, because we just looked like let's find international names for technology and framework and pick out something that has a domain like .ai available, and that's why we started with grammar. But eventually, as we started working in the industry, obviously it wasn't the name that resonated to what we do in the core, but then also it did not mean very well as we interacted with more people here. It has different meanings and variations in other sense, and so that's why symbol is something that we absolutely relate to. It is like the core meaning of language which exists today, and a symbol is what constitutes languages, and languages constitute conversations. So we found the name that we were looking for, and we rebranded it. So that's the story behind it.
And how did you start it? Like you talked about, the initial thing that you experienced, but when you had that initial idea, how did you scale it up? How did you expand on it?
Yeah, so I moved. I think we started the company in May 2018. I moved to the Bay Area around that time, and a lot of time that I spent early on days was really networking. So really attended, like, thankfully that time COVID did not exist, so I could actually go in different meetups and like meet with people. And I really focused early on to like build a network in the space. Network of mentors, advisors, anyone who's been in the startup ecosystem and can actually, help us understand the various dynamics of it. There's a lot to accomplish when you're a first time founder, not just from thinking around what are the steps that you should do, but also what is the order of the steps that you should take place in. So did that. Found some really amazing people that helped us along the journey early on. Made sure that we get access to some early customers, do some initial customer discovery to find out that what is the persona of the customer for which we are solving the problem. Are there many of those customers that exist today? And is this really a pain point for people? So did all of that early on, and that's kind of like how I think most companies start. We signed some early customers, and very very fortunate to have had them during the life cycle of the company, even till today, who helped us build the platform with the right feedback, accepting all the crappiness that we did on day one and all the bugs and issues that we deployed. But then eventually, we worked with them, solved some of the problems, and yeah, now we are very happy to work across multiple businesses. And have continue to have the trust and support of early customers to be able to get this to the next stages.
Awesome. And how did you find these people? Like, was there a certain process that you did, or was it just natural?
Yeah, no, we just so this is also something that I learned out of my initial networking that I did in meetups, and I used to sit sales 101 for startups, like meetups like that in the Bay Area, and then understand like what are the things that we should do to find our customers. So fortunately, we just did some like cold outreach and emails. We didn't get a whole lot of like warm intros. Some of the mentors and advisors that we were working with did help with some warm intros to some customers, saying that, hey, this is a startup that you should look at. Maybe this is a problem that you guys are looking to solve, and these guys can help you, things like that. But I think most of the early customers that we got was just like us outreaching or using LinkedIn and emails, and just really, originally asking the question that, hey, we're working on this problem. Is this a problem that you're really excited about solving, or like excited to work on? And we would love to partner with you to work on it. So it was really like plain simple ask. um, yeah, first time founder, trying to build a business. Is this a problem that we can solve for you? That's all.
And people responded to that. They were
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I also never honestly like thought that someone would get back to me just reaching out cold, but it does happen. I mean, like I myself also reach out to people as much as I can help, but yeah, you just need to ask sometimes. You just need to get out of your comfort zone and put up the first step and just ask. And you don't know how many people are there willing to help you to get started.
yeah, really. Okay, so um you talked a little bit about your vision, but how did you convince others of it? How did you get the funding for that, and how did you make sure that they knew that this is what I'm thinking of and this is what I'm trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I think I would attribute all our success to our early customers, because if it wasn't for our early customers, we wouldn't have gotten into Techstars. We did Techstars Seattle as an accelerator program to start with, and with Techstars, it was a totally different journey that we led on to. So Techstars really helped us as a network to bring together the right people, to be able to tell our story in the best possible way, to be able to get more people who believe in what we are doing. So they connected us to a wide variety of mentors, very well matched for the business that we were building. And with those mentors, we found our investors, we found our team members. Our head of product today was actually our product mentor during the Techstars program, and then we got him on board to join the company. So I think it's really like, if you are able to connect to the right people and you can find a network to be able to connect to the right people, everything works out, because you just need to surround yourself with the right network, and then you will find investors, you will find customers, you will find team members joining you in what if you're solving a right pain point, obviously. So yeah.
And you should also like believe in the idea that you have.
Totally.
Like, okay, and I think this is very appropriate to the time that we're having this conversation. But I know you recently just finished having a launch, but can you share like how do you come up with new features and capabilities for your original product, and how's that process like for you?
Yeah, so I mean, like early on, it was just me and Toshish, my co-founder. We guys just used to decide based on our customer feedback that these are the things that customers are asking for, and this is what we should develop. Now, once we got Anthony on board, who's our head of product, it's a more well thought through and researched method in order to get to more product features and capabilities. But it's still very heavily driven by our customers. So the customers that we have on board and the customers that are our potential customers that we are talking to every day. So all product features and capabilities are very driven based on what are the unique problems that they are willing to solve, not necessarily based on what solution sometimes our customers ask us for, but more so looking at the problems that they are looking to solve, and then it's up to us to give them the best solution. So we do a balance in terms of trying to solve their problem, but taking a solution which is the best suited, not just for them, but for us as a company and for 20 other customers that will come along the way. And obviously, that sets them apart from everyone else.
Mhm. And like, how do you these original customers? You said they stood with you, they stuck with you. So how did you make sure that that happened? What do you think compared to like other?
No, I think a lot of things in terms of like, are we first to market solving the problem? Are we really solving the problem for them, the one that they are looking for? Is it the right fit of like, do they have the right intelligence to be able to solve our problems? So initial customers are more like, they become a part of your family when you start a company, and they just look at you from all different angles, and pretty much how an investor would invest in the company like you. So they would look at, where are you guys from, and what's your background, and then what problem are you solving. So it's much more than just that I'm paying for the service. It goes much more beyond that. And for that, it has to be you have to be invested both ways. So we have to make an effort to make sure that our early customers are equally invested in us as we are in them, to make this successful. And if we do make this successful together, then it will be the first in the market, right? So I think that's something that gets everyone excited across the board. And it's very fortunate to work with innovators. And when you early customers are always innovators, and we value their perspective a lot on the product. And yeah, it's just exciting to solve a problem together with some more people in it.
Yeah. And I must say, Surbhi, your personality is very like contagious and it's really nice to talk to you. So that's
Thank
also
you.
that also may be one thing. um Also, do you you mentioned before that you were initially like an engineer and like then this idea came to you and you're
Yeah.
um very focused on customer pain points. But do you think that it is necessary to have a technical background in order to be in a position like yours?
No, I don't think so, actually. I mean, I think tech background gives you a better understanding of what you're building, but it's not necessary because, like, I have seen exceptional founders who do not have tech backgrounds, but they lead technology companies. And it's really about your analytical thinking, about your logical thinking, if you're able to kind of like put the pieces of the puzzle together. Um, it just gives you a better edge early on, specifically if you're a first time founder building a technology platform, if you're a technologist yourself. But I don't think it's critical to success to be a tech founder. Yeah.
Mhm. And that kind of makes me I let's backtrack. What was your first introduction to AI?
Um, I it was I mean, like, I obviously knew about machine learning and AI since college. So like we've been reading about it and like studying it and like doing some research on it, but not like really working hands on it was really in my last company. So which was Zamdoc. So that's kind of where I actually worked hands on something which was impacting just how conversations were happening using machine learning. So it was very interesting. But I think that would be like my first close as build and sell motion with an AI ML technology. But yeah, before that, we've been interfaced to it since a long time. So yeah.
Okay, cool. And according to you, what is a growing and upcoming thing in the tech industry, particularly concerning AI?
Yeah, I'm very excited about voice as such, voice intelligence as such, whether it's using virtual assistants and chatbots or it's using free flowing conversations, whether it's embedded in your AR, VR headsets or it's a part of the devices, just the ability to be able to just act and perform actions without having a physical contact is like very, very exciting to me personally. So all the intelligence around the voice ecosystem is kind of like my personal kind of like love, I would say, that I've been following. So I'm very excited about that, obviously. And yeah, it's just amazing to see the rapid evolution of NLP and speech over the period of last 3 years. That has never happened before for such a long period of time, and now more so with COVID, when all conversations become digital, and like it's imperative to like have such technologies around you floating all the time and like helping you get rid of like all the activities where you spend a lot of time in unproductiveness and really like focus on the things that matter. So yeah, super excited about that.
And also, like specifically to the workplace, tech solutions are changing. You know the way that we can
Yeah.
work. Also, it's also helping us remotely. Get to do our work. But how do you think specifically it's changing the workplace?
Yeah, I mean, there's a great thesis around future work, and like so many other investors and even like founders and research analysts have written what they think from a future work perspective. But like we directly, in our position, we directly get to work with companies that are defining future work. So we work with startups that are changing synchronous communications like the what that we are doing into asynchronous communications. We are working with startups which are enabling AR VR collaboration environments, so that you don't have to watch each other like this. You can actually watch in a VR space, and yeah, it's just like phenomenal looking at the different kind of experiences that we will be able to acknowledge, appreciate, and experience in a very short matter of time. So yeah, that's what I'm particularly excited about for workspaces. The ability to be able to change the way that we communicate is just phenomenal.
And communication is such a huge part of how we,
Yeah.
interact also. Like, so that's insane to see some of the things. I didn't even think people would have thought that these things may be possible. And it's happening. So it's crazy, really. Okay, awesome. And lastly, what advice do you have for the next generation of leaders?
I would say that one thing that one mistake or like whatever I would say that I made and did not realize was just when an opportunity presents itself, like sometimes we just think a lot before acting on it. I think having a bias for action gives you so much more experience in terms of operating, and some things would work, sometimes some things would not work. And I'm looking at the coming generation and seeing that they have a very strong bias for action as opposed to what the previous generation had, and eventually like people like us had, where we always used to think two times before actually acting on an opportunity. And I think that that really differentiates on how quickly we can try, experiment, fail. That is what is going to define success for us, because not every opportunity will be successful, and I'm sure we will find our way around it if we act on it. So yeah.
Yeah, recognize an opportunity and grab it. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was great advice. And I had so much fun talking with you. It was very educational as well. So thank you for your time. Have a wonderful day.
Absolutely. Likewise, Prashant. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.